Well, that's another season down. Here's what I've learned, here's where I fucked up, and here's what I'm gonna do next year. You know, this season was definitely one of the ones of all time. A couple good moments, a couple bad moments. I hit every tree that I would look at. Had a couple problems, whether it came to transportation. I had a lot of interesting moments this season. A lot of times where I pulled some talent out of nowhere. A lot of times where I stared at the tree and still hit it. And a lot of times where I was just stuck. Some of these moments I'm a little more embarrassed to admit. Unfortunately, if it wasn't for the fact it was on video or any of my friends saw, I wouldn't have even admitted them. But if you're new to the sport, maybe you're more of a beginner, here's how to make the most of your next season. My fuck up. Well, you may ask, what actually went well this season? As most of you have probably seen my worst moment. Well, there were a couple things that I changed for this season. The biggest thing I think that I did at the start of the season is go into it with the mindset of I'm trying to learn in any way that I could, accepting that I'm actually a really bad rider and I haven't been on a snowmobile in 3 years, so I'm going to be making some mistakes. That led to basically treating every ride as like a workout or a rep. Even if it looked like snow was going to be a little bit shitty, I still went out. My main thing, especially early season, was to try and get out as much as I could, trying to get back in the groove of riding a snowmobile, trying to get good form through just doing it every weekend that I could, if I could. Previous seasons, I did a lot more trail riding, which isn't the best thing to do with a mountain sled. And I decided this year, because I have just less time to ride and I really only have the weekend, if it was a trail ride, I wasn't going on it. I was mainly looking to ride trees or any bit of off trail because I wanted to, for one, get the most damage out of my sled out of the way the first season. Because of this, I did spend a lot less time riding than I normally would, which means that I had more time to plan rides. So a lot of this went through going through Google Earth, Onyx Off-Road, satellite map, watching everyone else's Instagram stories, trying to figure out where they went riding, where I can poach their riding spots. That way I would spend less time driving up and down the trail for 15 kilometers and spend more time learning how to unstuck my snowmobile from the tree I just drove into. Because I went into this season with more of an attitude on learning, I spent more time thinking while I was riding, whether it came to throttle usage, brake usage, body positioning. I tried my best to be thinking about where I was and what I was doing on the sled at all times. If you've seen any of my riding footage, you see sometimes I do forget to think. From where I was starting at the start of the season and compared to how I am now, I definitely am a little bit better. Now, where I saw a lot of that improvement was my side hilling, which is most of the riding that you're doing anyway. Keep a good speed going in a side hill. I'm able to keep a sled on edge for a lot longer and get knocked off less. And all it takes is a log under the snow to throw you offline and then you fall down the hill. I can definitely learn to stop before I've dug a trench so hard that none of my friends can help me get out. Now, in all honesty, I think out of the 10 rides I went on, my best ride either had to been that we did at the end of January and where it was minus 25 Celsius, but the snow was just phenomenal, great powder snow. Anyone who's never ridden powder doesn't understand how easy it is to ride in it. Versus the wetter stuff or anything that's been set up. The other good ride, despite the fact I did crash this fucking thing, was the ride that I went on last weekend. I think that was kind of the accumulation of everything I've learned this season. With a little fuck ups in there. Because of that, I did get a bit more confidence than I should have, and I hit a lot of trees and got stuck, but logically, because I've talked about what worked this season, there's got to be a what didn't work this season. To some of you, that may be obvious, but we're going to take it from the top. Number one, I really did not like my heated goggle cord system. It was so annoying. This is fucking stupid. It drives me insane. I don't know why I thought the magnetic cord would have been great for a trail rider, but I don't do trails. The problem I always dealt with is, do I take my goggles off and risk being blinded by a tree, or deal with this extremely flappy cord hanging off me that I constantly am checking to see if it's plugged in? Now, when it came to my mindset, as anyone is pretty obvious to see, is that I have a lot of blank moments. I would have too much going on and I'd hit a tree. I definitely overthought a lot of very easy hill climbs that ended up being just problems because I'd spent too much time thinking, or I just wouldn't commit. Sometimes a hill is gonna need full throttle, and I thought it wouldn't. At best, I would get stuck. At worst, I broke plastics. I'm not saying that's not going to happen next season, but I'm going to try and make sure it doesn't. I don't know how we're going to do that, but I'm going to figure something out. I definitely realized this season how much physical intensity riding a snowmobile is. Especially when you're a 26-year-old truck driver. I definitely could have done things different in my prep work before the ride, like getting more than 5 hours of sleep, or maybe drinking more than 100 milliliters of water. Since I've talked about the good and the bad, you may be wondering, what am I going to do about all this? Sled-wise, I'm going to make some minor changes. The biggest one is that I don't want to have that heated goggle system anymore. I'm gonna pick something that's got a battery. Some of you may be shocked to hear this. I will be fixing the crash damage after I max out my credit card on thousands of dollars in plastics. I also plan on getting a set of CFR handlebars. I've gone a season without bending a stock set of Skidoo handlebars, but I'm still worried. I've seen enough videos of people just breaking them, and I don't want to be that guy who's got a broken set of handlebars. It's bad enough being the guy that breaks his front bumper on a ride. Another thing that I'll be doing for peace of mind is the high torque rollers. Anyone who owns a Skidoo knows that secondary rollers are junk. These aren't bad yet, but they keep knocking. And I don't know who's home, but a set of high torque rollers should be home. For the type of riding I do, it would be a really bad day if I blew a set of rollers. I'm keeping it light in terms of mods for next season. I'm not good enough to necessitate all the other fancy stuff that guys are putting on sleds these days. I just want to fix the minor things that I struggled with this season and have all the damage I've done. That way that next season I have an even better start or an even better ending. Who knows? Maybe I won't have any damage next season. Not just the sled will get work done. Probably gonna work out a bit more. Keynote probably, judging by the way that I was feeling at the end of every ride. Now it did get better. I could ride on a Sunday and not hate myself Monday morning at work towards the end of the season, but man, those first couple rides, you were sore for 3 days. So I would like to try and go into next season with a bit more strength, a bit more conditioning. I don't know how I'm gonna do that. Maybe I'll work out. I mainly want to start next season in a much better physical shape for my own mental health mainly. And also I would like that for my friends' sanity, because they probably get tired of pulling me out because I do not have the strength to lift up the back of this snowmobile. What else will I be up to for the next 9 months? Probably going to be fixing my Jeep and doing some cool stuff with that. I want to leave this sled. I'm not going to do anything to it. It's March. There's no point in working on your sled in March. If it's broken, leave it till October. I really want to get my Jeep ready so I can find some more cooler riding spots this year. Maybe revisit the ones I found this season. There's some cool creek beds and river crossings that we went across that would be, as well as an abandoned mine that we couldn't really get to because it was blocked off, but now on to next season. I got a couple goals in mind for next season, one of which is I would like to actually nail a re-entry without hitting a tree afterwards. Part of this is for the Instagram clicks, but mainly I would like to be able to do it while I'm riding and actually get myself out of a bad situation. That way I don't end up stuck. I would like to do a bow tie. That one's a lot more for the Instagram clicks. I don't really see a actual use for that move. In general, I would just like more confidence when it comes to the kind of riding I do. I'm probably 60% of the way there, but I definitely do psych myself up. And with all that said and done, I am a bit more hyped for next season, being that I'll have a sled with a not cracked front bumper, cool set of handlebars, some of the minor tweaks done to it myself, in a bit more of a physical condition and not just struggling through the trees. But yeah, that's a quick recap on what I've learned this season, what I've done wrong, what I've done bad, and what I'm going to do for next season. I definitely learned a lot this season. I definitely crashed a lot. I definitely got stuck a lot, but I came out, I think, a better rider in the end. As much as the big crash did end it early, a lot of the things that I learned this season are still going to be present for next season. So I do have high hopes for next season, as much as the people that ride with me don't. But yeah, the season's over for most of us. The sled's going to be summarized. I'll make sure to come back on a snowmobile next year in even worse condition.